Don't try to you, Anakin. I have brought peace, freedom, and security to my new empire. Chancellor Palpatine is evil and good. You are lost. In my allegiance to democracy. My brother Anakin. They were my enemies. This is the end of my master Sith.
What if events went differently in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith? What if Obi-Wan Kenobi was stuck in a time loop, kind of like Groundhog Day, reliving the same events of Mustafar every single time? Welcome back, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, to another What If video, and in today's video, it is May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you. I can't thank the community enough, and I do want to give a massive shout out to the Patreon and YouTube supporters on this channel. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support what we're doing here on the channel, and I want to give a big community shout out. And unfortunately, I know this idea was dropped in one of the live streams that we are doing here. We're doing different live streams where you can hop in, suggest ideas, pitches, and we write them down in different documents. Now, I know for sure that this idea was one of them, and I would highly recommend that you turn those notifications on so you know every time when we upload. But that being said, I'm just going to be doing a mega shout out. So if you see your name right now in the video, I'm just doing a mega shout out to a bunch of community members. I can't thank you guys enough. But that being said, before we get into today's episode, if you guys are new here, welcome to Horror Week. This week is where we do a ton of dark what if fan fictions, including this one. Not everything has to be happy and fun in games. It can be really dark, gritty, and maybe even evil endings. But that being said, I do want to give a massive shout out to the merch shop. We have brand new merch, and it's a very, very unique multiverse design. It's what if the Toy Story characters were in Call of Duty Zombies. It's running for 1 week on the channel, actually less than 1 week now, depending on when you're watching this video. So time is ticking. It's an exclusive piece of merch on the MissedThePart channel. I would highly recommend copping one as soon as possible. Use promo code WHATIF to get 10% off your order, and once it's gone, it's gone. It's not going to be coming back on the channel. And so that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, let's dive into the brand new What If episode. The heat shimmered. The air itself withered like it wanted to scream. Obi-Wan stood on the blackened slope above the lava river, steam rising from every fold of his robe. His face was carved from grief. His lightsaber, humming in searing blue, trembled slightly in his hand, not from fatigue, but from the unbearable weight of what he had done, what he had become. Anakin Skywalker, his brother, his apprentice, his failure, lay below, crawling like a shattered animal, one arm dragging, useless behind him. The molten edge of Mustafar licked closer, the ground glowing brighter as it cracked and gave way. Anakin's eyes were burning, both literally and figuratively, seared with rage, yellow, and darkness. Obi-Wan forced the words out. "You were the chosen one." Obi-Wan forced the words out. "You were the chosen one." It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. Anakin withered, pulling himself with his good arm towards the slope. "I hate you," he screamed, voice raw, throat blistered from flame. Obi-Wan's face crumbled. He turned. He couldn't watch this. Couldn't smell the burning flesh. Couldn't bear the way Anakin's hair was already smoldering. Couldn't stand that his final lesson had been this. Victory meant damnation. He limped towards Padme's ship, every footstep heavier than the last. The heat behind him grew unbearable, the screams louder, the sobs in his own throat more ragged. Then silence and darkness. He blinked. His footing shifted. No, not shifted, changed. The heat returned, but this time, it wasn't behind him. It was in front of him. Obi-Wan's heart stuttered. His feet slid slightly on the volcanic ash. He looked around, throat already dry. He was standing on the same slope of Mustafar, but Anakin was not burning. He was alive, standing just feet away, lightsaber drawn, blue against blue. The roar of lava still screamed in the background, but the moment had changed. The moment had rewounded. Obi-Wan's breath hitched. What? Anakin sneered. You should have never come, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's eyes widened. No, we already did this. This already. Anakin lunged. Their sabers clashed again with the force of pent-up hatred. Obi-Wan parried instinctively, feet sliding on the slope. Every movement returned like muscle memory, except this time it wasn't memory, it was now. Or then. He didn't know. Anakin, wait, Obi-Wan gasped, blocking another strike. We've done this. This already happened. I beat you. You burned. I left you. Anakin's face twisted in fury. Liar. Obi-Wan tried to disengage, but the rhythm of battle had begun again. Blow for blow, the same choreography of their final duel repeated itself. The same ledge, the same high ground. He jumped, flipped, landed just as before. He had the advantage again, but this time he hesitated. I don't want to do this again, he breathed. Anakin leaped. The blade struck, and Obi-Wan screamed. Pain tore through him as blue plasma sliced across his chest. His legs gave out. He hit the rocks hard, feeling the heat of lava inches from his cheeks. He was dying. Anakin stood over him, panting, sweat and ash dripping from his brow. The yellow in his eyes glowed like furnaces. Then, darkness. Gasp! Obi-Wan opened his eyes, breath ragged. He was standing again. Same slope, same duel, same beginning. It was happening again. He stared at Anakin across the battlefield, alive, uninjured, scowling. No, Obi-Wan whispered. He didn't ignite his saber this time. He stepped back. Anakin frowned. What are you doing? I can't. Not again. Anakin's face went cold. Coward. Obi-Wan turned to walk away, and the Force crashed into him like a tidal wave. An invisible grip seized his spine and hurled him backwards. He slammed into the rocks with a grunt, the air gone from his lungs. Anakin was upon him in seconds, saber raised. Obi-Wan barely rolled aside as the blade scorched stone where his head had been. He reached for his own saber, hand trembling, but it was too late. The blade punched through his back. He gasped, then darkness swallowed him again. He woke up, sweating, screaming, but not in his bed, not in safety, on Mustafar, again alive, unburned, unharmed, and Anakin was standing 10 feet away, just as before, waiting, expecting. Obi-Wan stood, unsteady. His mouth was dry. His thoughts disorganized. His heart thundered against his ribs. This is a nightmare, he whispered. This isn't real. It can't be real. He reached for his saber. It was already in his hand. Anakin stepped forward. Obi-Wan screamed, not in rage but in horror, and charged. The blades clashed again. He fought, not because he wanted to win, but because he had no choice. The cycle continued and continued. Sometimes he won, sometimes Anakin did. Sometimes Padme arrived, and he tried to warn her. Once, he tried stabbing Anakin early before the duel began. That time she collapsed to her knees and screamed like her heart had been ripped out. And then the world reset again. The last loop of this act ends with Obi-Wan pinned under a fallen droid platform, lava rising around him, Anakin's silhouette outlined in fire. He closed his eyes. Tears streaked down his soot-stained cheeks. He whispered, "Please, let's end this." Anakin raised his saber, and then everything went black. It always started the same way now. Ash in the air, the roar of magma, churring like a hungry god beneath them, Anakin standing 10 paces away, lightsaber ignited, eyes yellow with rot, and Obi-Wan, sweating, shaking, his hand already clenched around a saber he no longer wished to use. The loop had run its course over 100 times now. He stopped counting at 50. He tried mercy. He threw his lightsaber away, fell to his knees on the rocky slope, and begged, "Please, Anakin, please, don't do this. You don't have to. We can still..." Anakin struck him down mid-sentence. He tried prevention. "Don't follow the Chancellor," he had whispered to Anakin in the temple, long before the duel should have happened. "Don't trust him. You'll lose yourself." Anakin narrowed his eyes. "How do you know that?" That time Obi-Wan was killed in his sleep, smothered by a black glove. Sidious laughed in the shadows. He tried violence. Once Obi-Wan activated his saber the moment the loop began, and rushed Anakin with all the speed he could summon, slashing to kill, cutting his former Padawan down before he could have a chance to speak. Anakin collapsed, gasping, his body broken. Padme arrived moments later, saw the corpse, and screamed until her lungs gave out. Obi-Wan sobbed for hours before the loop took him again. He tried warning the Jedi Council, but every time he reached Coruscant in time, he was too late. Order 66 had already been sounded. The temple burned, the clones fired on sight, the galaxy unraveled around him. And each time, the fire brought him back to Mustafar. Always Mustafar. Always the end. Obi-Wan began seeing things between the loops, things that didn't belong. He once opened his eyes and found himself not on the slope, but standing in the Jedi Council chamber alone. Every seat was filled with lifeless corpses and robes, their heads turned toward him, slowly, eyes empty. "You failed us," Mace Windu's dead voice whispered. "You trained him," Ki-Adi-Mundi rasped. "Your arrogance," said Yoda's voice from behind. He turned, but the council was empty, just shadows. Then fire, slope, lightsaber, reset. Other times the loop broke form. He would find himself mid-duel, but the surroundings were different. The lava just black. The sky overhead cracked like glass. Anakin's face would warp, flicker between Darth Vader's mask and a bleeding version of himself, eyes weeping molten gold. "Is this what you wanted?" the voice would howl. Obi-Wan would scream awake. Still alive, still stuck, still trapped. His memories of the original timeline began to decay. He could no longer remember the exact way Padme smiled, or the sound of the temple bells at dusk, or the last meal he ate before the war. Everything blurred into ash and blood, and Anakin's voice, twisted and screaming. Sometimes he heard the words before they were even spoken. "I hate you. You were my brother. You turned her against me. Don't lecture me, Obi-Wan." They weren't just memories anymore. They were walls closing in. In one loop, he simply walked into the lava, said nothing, felt the heat melt through his bones like glass, welcomed the darkness. But when he opened his eyes again, Mustafar, again and again and again and again and again. One cycle, he tried to hide. When Anakin came down the slope, lightsaber drawn, Obi-Wan wasn't there. He burrowed into a hollow rock cleaver higher on the ridge, closed his eyes and shut himself off from the Force, sat in total silence for days. Then Anakin found him anyway, dragged him out by the throat, murdered him in silence, reset. Another time he tried talking directly to the Force, screaming at it, begging it. I've given everything. What more do you want? I did my duty. I tried. He was a boy. He needed more than teaching and prophecy and rules, and we failed him. So why do I have to watch it again? The sky did not answer. The flames only grew louder. Eventually, Obi-Wan stopped trying to change the outcome. He fought, lost, fought, won, fell, killed. It made no difference. Hope had long since turned into something brittle. Hope had long turned into something else. He moved through each duel like a sleepwalker, dodging blows he knew before they came, blocking without thinking, striking with no conviction. The fight was meaningless now. Every path, every decision, every possibility led to one of two things: fire and failure. In one final attempt, he told Anakin the truth. I've seen this moment 1,000 times. I've seen you burn. I've seen me die. I've tried to stop it. I've tried to kill you, save you, warn you. None of it matters. None of it ever matters. Anakin paused. For the first time in the loop, he seemed uncertain. His saber dipped. You're lying. I'm not. Then what do you want? Anakin snarled. Obi-Wan lowered his weapon. I want to be free. Anakin's face twisted. So do I. And then he killed him again. The final scene of this returns to the classic duel. Sparks flying, rallying collapsing, lava crushing beneath their feet. Anakin leaps across a floated droid. Obi-Wan counters. They land, tired, bloodied. But this time, Obi-Wan does something different. He stands still. Anakin raises his blade, and Obi-Wan says, I forgive you. Anakin's blade trembles, and the lava erupts violently, unnaturally, splitting the battlefield apart. Obi-Wan is swallowed by the flames. Reset. He no longer screamed when he woke up. The heat came first, then the ash, then the voice. You should have killed me when you had the chance. Obi-Wan stood still on the obsidian slope. His boots were crusted in dried lava dust. His hands no longer trembled when he reached for the saber. His robes had burned 100 times over, and yet here they were again. Fresh, ready for another day of fire. Anakin's saber ignited with a snap hiss. Blue, blinding. Obi-Wan didn't move. He just watched. You're quiet, Anakin growled. Finally tired of playing teacher? Obi-Wan didn't answer. Anakin attacked. For the first time, Obi-Wan didn't fight back. He blocked, dodged, but didn't strike. Not once. He let the duel drag out, let Anakin wear himself down. Their sabers flashing like old memories gone sour. They moved through the monitors like dancers trapped in a waltz of death. Onto the platforms, through the steam, across the collapsing metal catwalks of Mustafar's dying station. Obi-Wan remembered every beat. He could feel when the floor would give out. Could taste the exact second the ash would choke his lungs. He no longer reacted. He just let it happen. Eventually, the high ground came. It always did. He landed on the slope, 10 feet up. Just out of reach, Anakin perched
on the floating platform below. Panting, eyes glowing the same way they always did every time. "I have the high ground," Obi-Wan said. The words felt like dust in his mouth. Scripted, hollow, like he was reading them off a page he no longer believed in. Anakin snarled, "You underestimate my power." Obi-Wan didn't say anything this time. Anakin leaped, and Obi-Wan caught him midair. With the same old slashes, a clean sweep across the legs, a perfect hit. Anakin tumbled, screamed, fell. Fire met flesh. Obi-Wan stood over him again, just like always. His brother burned, just like always. And as the flames consumed what was left of the bot, and as the flames consumed what was left of the boy he raised, Obi-Wan's knees buckled. Not from exhaustion, not from pain, but from grief. He dropped to the ground beside the lava river, not caring how close he came to the heat. His saber rolled from his hand. His fingers dug into the ash, trembling. His voice cracked. "I can't." Anakin screamed below him, hateful, seething, but Obi-Wan didn't hear the words anymore. He just whispered, "Please, please, let me go." But there was no answer. There never was. He screamed until his throat tore. Not in anger, in grief, in exhaustion, in the echo of 1,000 deaths and 1,000 failures. The wind howled. The fire rose, and Obi-Wan stayed on his knees, sobbing into the dust. Not fighting, not fleeting, just breaking. And then, silence. But not the kind he'd known before. Not the fragile silence before arrest. Not the unnatural stillness between time's gears. The silence was soft, final. He opened his eyes. Anakin was gone. The lava still flowed, but there was no dew, no fire, no scream. Just ash drifting across a blackened plain. Obi-Wan stood. His limbs ached like they hadn't in weeks or months, or however long he'd been stuck. He looked around. There was no reset. No repeat. No time cranking back into place. Just the echo of what had been. He was alone. Truly alone. Obi-Wan walked to the edge of the lava river, the glow painting his face in golden shadow. He kneeled one final time, staring into the molten flow, like it might answer him. He whispered. He was just a boy, just a child. No voice answered him, but something inside him shifted, not healed, not resolved, but accepted. And somewhere far away, across the galaxy, the Force signed. Obi-Wan, cloaked in ash, kneeling beside the lava, unmoving. The wind blows, and the high ground is quiet.
And that is going to be it for What If Obi-Wan Was Stuck in a Time Loop. Kind of like Groundhog Day. Now, what did you think of this video? Do let me know in the comments down below. And I do want to give a massive shout out again to all of the Patreon and YouTube community members. Thank you guys so very much for your kind support. It really goes a long way. And I do want to say this video was actually also posted on the YouTube Shorts channel. So if you guys haven't already checked out the YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram Reels, it's kind of like where I do a food for thought type of thing on the channel. And it's just very interesting. I really love to do those things. So again, if you're interested in that, it's another branch of the channel. So I would highly recommend checking that out. And again, I do want to say that the custom merchandise for Horror Week is available right now. We're less than 1 week away, depending on when you're watching this video. And once it's gone, it's gone. So it's a exclusive What If Toy Story was in Black Ops Zombies. I know it's such a unique thing that why would this guy be even saying this in a Star Wars What If video? Well, that's what we do here on the channel. We do so many different multiverse storylines, different franchises, so I would highly recommend to stick around because we got a lot of stuff coming out, and we have another theme at the end of May that we will be doing as well, so stay tuned for that. We will be releasing more details soon. And again, massive community shout out. If you see your name in the video, I want to give a massive shout out to you because I don't know who did this particular request in the live stream, but I want to give everybody just a massive shout out. So if you see your name, big shout out to you. Thank you so much to the community, and may the 4th be with you. Take care and have a fantastic day. Peace out.